Conversations with a Citizen. I am your host, Tia Carol Jones. I'm here today with Philanise White, 1st Congressional District candidate. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Tia, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born on the south side of Chicago. I come from a single mom who raised 3 young ladies, and I think we've done very well. I also have 2 children of my own who I raised in Inglewood, which is also part of the 1st Congressional District, who's done exceptionally well. So I'm very proud of them. I have a degree in criminal justice and sociology. I am working on my master's degree in organization and leadership. So I am 6 credit hours away from graduation.
Oh,
all right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Why did you want to run for the 1st Congressional District?
Well, after volunteering for alderman in the 7th Ward, I took on this passion about politics because I really didn't understand it. So I wanted to learn more and more about it. So that's why I ran for committeemen in the 7th Ward. So that gave me a lot of insight about a lot of the things that were going on. And as I mentioned, I raised 2 young ladies in the heart of Inglewood, which is also in the 1st Congressional District. So after calling about certain things that was not right in the community, me still not knowing anything about politics, I just know I would make various phone calls about vacant lots and abandoned buildings. And I was concerned. And even going back and forth to that very same community is still the same way. So I said, what can I do to make a change? So after running for committeeman and after my term was over, I spoke to my campaign manager and I said, you know what, I think I want to run for Congress because I've worked in healthcare for 30 years. So I understand the magnitude of healthcare, how important being able to afford prescription medicines. So it's a lot of things that I saw working in healthcare, being a committee woman, and the 1st District is the one that came to mind because I lived in Inglewood. So I saw a lot of different things that one day I could change as, being the first, Black Congresswoman.
What do you think makes you a viable candidate for this office?
What makes me from a viable candidate for this office? Well, I have to say, the experience that I have gained. Okay, once again, I was a committee woman for 5 years. I have a degree in criminal justice. I'm very active in my community. I was the vice president of the Rainbow Advisory Council. I was the secretary of the Besman Park Advisory Council, and I am still a member. So I interact with a lot of the people in the community, and we have different events. And so I see the things that people worry about. I get out and I talk to people, and they voice their concerns. So by me having that understanding, because I was once a constituent who had those same concerns. So by me going to different meetings, I go to different states, the RNC conventions and things like that. So I've learned a lot of different things. So I kind of feel that I have a lot of the educational part of what it takes to be a congresswoman, along with the other aspirations that I love to put out there, and just a lot of things that I have gained. Like again, organizational leadership. I'm trying to get my master's in that. That would help me along the way. Me knowing about criminal justice and sociology, that would help me along the way. Me just being in the community, learning about different people, interacting with people, going door to door. That's always a plus because now I understand how people feel about what's going on in our community. And right now, my community is in the 1st Congressional District, so that's a plus. Because again, I was the committee woman for 5 years in this very ward. So, I just think I beat the odds. I ran in 2020, where I took 62% of the Will County, 42% of the Southern Cook County vote. So I think I made a grand move on that. So I think I'll make a viable candidate for this seat. I really do.
How would you respond to people who might feel as though a Black woman who is a Republican might not be a good fit for that seat?
Well, we have to think back and go back into history. we were all Republicans at one time. Okay, Oscar Dupree, even though he was a black man, he was the first African American Republican congressman in the 1st Congressional District. So it's no different. Only thing different is that I'm a woman. And I think that's the only difference. I'm a mother. I work in healthcare. I'm active in my community. I mean, I ran in 2020.
Right.
It's just, you know, so many things. So I put myself out there so people know about me. So the thing is, you have to give me a chance, because there are people in some of these seats that's been there for years, and things haven't turned out that great, but they were given a chance. So I'm asking for that same opportunity to prove myself that I can be the right Congresswoman for the 1st Congressional District, and not only as a woman, but as a black woman.
What did you learn from that 2020 race?
What I learned from that 2020 race is politics is a blood sport.
Okay.
You have to get out and talk to the people. You can't just put your sides down. You have to actually have a conversation with your constituents. This is how you gain the rapport of your constituents. You know about them, they know about you, and the conversation, it goes on. So I've learned a lot just by running. Now I know what it takes. When I ran in 2020, I didn't have that much experience.
Okay.
But now that I have, and I saw the numbers that I did for my first run was exceptional for a first-time female Republican that has ever run against the incumbent to do as well as I did. So it taught me a lot. It's like, just because I'm a Republican, it doesn't really make a difference, because people voted for me on both sides of the aisle.
Okay.
So that's what I learned. So I know this can be done, not just only by Dems. A strong Republican, and I say myself, we can take this.
Okay. Where do you stand on issues of gun violence, abortion, and racism in America?
Okay, we've always had gun violence. Okay, the Second Amendment, that's why we have the Second Amendment. Okay, however, the guns are getting in the wrong hands, right? We have to find a solution for that. You can't take away our Second Amendment rights. You can't do that, because those are rights that were given for us. Okay, so we just have to find that root of where the gun's coming from. Okay, and once we get a hold on that, then we can move forward to how we can get these guns out of the wrong hands, because the guns are in the wrong hands, right? So, but the people who's going about it the right way, making sure they have their conceal and carry, we can't take that away from them, but we have to find the solution to this other problem that we have. I'm pro-life. That's it. I can't tell another woman what to do, because that's left between her and God, but I am pro-life. Racism is going to always be there. I don't know if it's a way around it, but I'm hoping one day that all of us can get along as one and love each other as God loves us. That's what I'll say.
What do you think is the single most important issue in the district?
There's not one single. It's multiple problems. For example, we have so many abandoned homes within the 1st Congressional District. Recently, they just found a woman handcuffed and chained. No one knows how long this woman has been there. But if you walk down a lot of these streets in the 1st Congressional District, almost every 3rd or 4th house is abandoned. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. We have women that's still missing. We probably need to check some of these abandoned homes and buildings. But here's my solution for that. They need to hold the banks accountable. They need to hold the landlords accountable. The city, Because why are these buildings still standing? Why are these homes still standing? We need to knock those buildings and houses down, or let's build programs. Let our young people learn how to build houses, paint them, fix them up, so our community can look good. This will give them an opportunity to have a trade. So we have to take some form of initiative to make sure that these abandoned houses and buildings are not still standing vacant, abandoned. Where are all our women? Our young girls that's still missing. The young lady from the post office, never been found. So these are the things we need to look at. These are some of the concerns that some of my constituents have talked to me about, because they are free. You can't walk past an abandoned building without, oh my God, should I walk in the street? It's unfair. Something needs to be done about it, and the time is now.
How important do you think transparency and communication are when it comes to the role of an elected official?
Both of those are very important, because everyone needs to be held accountable for their actions. Everybody has to have the same communication. It can't be one-sided, because once it's one-sided, things get lost in the shuffle. Okay, so everyone needs to be on that same page. Every official needs to be held accountable for their wrongdoing. So once we have that transparency and that communication, it all come together, and there shouldn't be any miscommunication. We're supposed to learn how to be able to do things together, compromise with each other. So once you get that communication under control, you have your solutions to a lot of the problems that's going on.
You kind of already talked about the experience that you have that makes you a viable candidate, but what do you think you have that sets you apart from the other candidates?
Me. Okay. I sat on various committees when in 2016, while I was the co-chair for Get Out the Vote in Indiana, the co-chair of the Black Engagement. I went to different cities just to experience what it's like in their state, trying to bring back other ideas here. Once again, I was a committee woman for 5 years. You know, I've had a pleasure of giving people jobs as judges, having meetings, just going to various meetings in other parts of the 1st Congressional District. So I go to stuff out in Indiana. So I think I've done a number of things that makes me different from all the other candidates. I think I've put my name out there. I've been to different events where I have spoken. Again, I'm a mother. I understand the Chicago school system. I work as a substitute teacher. I have a background in criminal justice and sociology. I think what the 1st Congressional District needs is a new choice and a better way. I think we need fresh eyes. I think we need fresh ideas, and we need a different approach. We need someone that actually cares about the 1st Congressional District. No one just to say, oh, I'm running, and then you don't get out there and talk to your constituents. Because right now, no one has actually been on my block to say they're running, but you have a sign at the corner of my block. Who are you? I like to be in the forefront. I want people to know who Philanise is and where I stand. And that's what makes me different from all the other candidates.
Where can people go to find out more about you and your campaign?
Well, they can visit my website, Philanise for Congress. They can email me, friendsofphilaniseWhite@gmail.com. What else? I think that's it. Yeah. They can find me on Twitter, but you will have to type in Philanise and I'll pop right up. But there's another thing I would like to add to along with, your questions, we have a big fentanyl crisis, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are not aware of that. Just like the 290, the Heron Highway, as they traffic drugs back and forth through that highway. I took that highway for 30 years, and just to see the congestion on that highway back and forth, knowing people are trafficking drugs back that way. But we have a serious problem of fentanyl that needs to be addressed. My sister just 2 years ago actually passed away from that, and now the doctors are giving that drug, doing surgeries, to help with pain, but it's being used the wrong way within the community, not just the 1st Congressional District, but in all communities. So I think those are things that, needs to be addressed, that we definitely have not only an opiate problem, but we have a fentanyl problem as well. And these are things that needs to be addressed with the city, the aldermen, state rep. We need to come together to find out how we can resolve these problems, these drug problems, because it's hindering our community. It's taking over, and our young kids are getting more and more involved in it. And these are things that parents that I have spoken with, they have a problem with, and these are the things that they fear. So I think that it needs to be more addressed within the community. We need more resources on how we can stop these drugs from coming into our community, like the opiates and the fentanyl, and along with other drugs. So I just, that was really something passionate about me when it comes to fentanyl, because once again, I lost my sister to that, and it was heartbreaking because at the time, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about fentanyl. All of a sudden, that's what was found in her system, along with other things. So I think we definitely need more resources on how we can tackle this problem that we're having. And, right here in our own backyard, in the 1st Congressional District.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want our audience to know?
Take a chance. Don't be afraid to go outside the box. There are good Republicans out here. I know most everybody is a Dem. I understand that. But now it's time for us to make better choices. And that's why I'm offering the 1st Congressional District a new choice in a better way. Find out what Ms. White is about. Go to my website. Pull up my website, Philanise for Congress, and you'll learn more about me. Send me an email. But we have to do more research on our candidates. Because if we don't, you don't know who you're putting in office. But what you do know is that person is a Dem, is a Republican. Take the time to research each and every candidate. When you're standing outside and you see all of these signs, write those names down, go home, Google them, so you can find out who they are and what they're about. And then you make your determination. Because you do have, even though people say, oh, I'm not a Republican, you'll never know what that Republican can bring. All I'm asking is for the opportunity to show you there are good Republicans, there are good black female Republicans, right? Okay, so I just think it's time for us to be more open-minded when it comes to putting candidates in office. I think that's something that we need to always consider foremost. And, just have, just again, have that open mind about, who you want to represent you in your district.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Remember to make plans to join us again next week for Conversations with the Citizen, the place where real news